Hi, I'm Carlton. This is a 1999 Porsche Boxster, and for the past 10 years, it's been blowing little chunks of foam out of the vents. And slowly, the HVAC has stopped having the right temperature. It's always kind of a lukewarm and never too hot, never too cold. Today, I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to fix these mixer flaps, both the mixer flap that diverts between the dash and the floor and the defrost, as well as the heater core. So they're two separate flaps and they can be repaired using these 3D printed parts.
Hello, old friend.
For those of you who don't know, this is a 100% failure rate problem on all Boxsters and 911s, both the 986, 996 version, as well as I believe the 987 and 997 versions as well. So very widespread, and I happened to find these 3D printed plugs for a Volkswagen, but I looked at the size and the number and noticed a lot of similarities, and it just so works out that they fit on the Porsche cars as well. Here's how to do the repair in a very quick and summarized fashion. These are the blend door plugs that you'll need to use. I purchased them from a seller called DSP off of eBay. I'll put a link in the video description. There are 4 different sizes. You only need the small and the medium-sized circle, and then this oval. The large circle isn't needed. And to seal the plugs in place, I'm using this Permatech RTV. And here's the bag showing all of the plugs that were sent.
Hey, future me here. I realized after I recorded the video clips that I forgot to explain that the radio does not need to be removed from this entire radio assembly. I forgot to explain that I'm upgrading the head unit, so that is why the radio itself is moved from this. So in the next clip, when I talk about removing the radio, what I'm really talking about is removing this entire assembly of the head unit and the HVAC controller as a whole. You do not need to specifically remove the HVAC controller or the radio from this assembly to do the blend door repair.
The easiest way to get to the blend door is to remove the radio and go in through the vent. So you start by just prying these off. Obviously I already have them off. And then the plugs in the back, they just pull straight off. There are no hidden clips or anything complicated. They just pull straight off. Once this is out, inside the radio, there are 4 bolts that need to be removed. There and there on both sides. And then once those 4 screws are removed, this whole unit just comes right out. Once the radio is out, you can see the vent here, and I just took my oscillating tool to cut a slot out and cut it pretty wide at the top and down at the bottom. Now, I didn't intend for it to break right here across. I intended just to fold it down, but it broke and it gives better access. Let's go in and have a little closer look at these blend doors in action. The one on the right, this is in the heating position, and if I set the HVAC to cool, you can see it moves forward and it bypasses the air so it does not go around the heater core. If you look at the blend door to the left, this is currently in the position to send everything to the dash, I believe, and if you move it like this, it will divert to the defroster and to the floor vents. As you can see, I already have a couple of the plugs in place on each one. The next step is to put some RTV around and install the rest of it. This is the layout of how the plugs will go into the blend doors. On the left, there are the 4 oval plugs, and then you have 6 of the small plugs in a row, and then on the other half of that right-hand door, 2 small at the top, 6 medium size in the middle, and 2 small at the bottom. You see these 3 large plugs, they are not needed. Before you install the plugs, be sure to clean out whatever foam may be left over. This was what was still either in the vent or stuck to those panels. This was the hardest part, to be honest, was cleaning all this out, getting all the little pieces out, and getting it ready to install the plugs. This is the first plug with the RTV around the edge. And this is the first plug with the RTV on it snapped into place. Obviously, it will get a little messy as you try to get all of these in place. You don't want to watch me do this. All right, here you can see the finished product with all 20 of the plugs in place. You'll notice quite a bit of RTV on the front of the plugs. That's because I was using the RTV on the end of my finger to help hold them and put them in place. And because of that, I actually didn't drop any of the plugs, surprisingly. So having the RTV there definitely helps. So after all these plugs are installed with RTV, the next step is to tape the duct section back in place, install the radio, and then you're done. I use the aluminized tape to put the duct back together, and it is extremely solid. Now, I did want to quickly acknowledge that there is another way of doing that, and that is to use this aluminized tape to put it on the blend doors instead of those plugs. I don't have any evidence that these plugs are better than the tape. They just seemed like a little more precise solution and something I wanted to try. Unfortunately, the plugs are not quite properly sized to perfectly snap in place and give confidence that they would never come out. That's why the RTV's there. So that definitely makes it a longer repair to do, because putting the RTV on and getting each plug in place takes a lot longer to do it that way. I think you're good either way, using the tape or the plugs. Just wanted to show you the two alternatives. Good luck getting your own repair done. See ya.